Coming up on tonight's show, breakthroughs in medicine.
New developments in combating the opioid crisis. How one UM professor is working to find where these dangerous drugs are coming from.
So they can focus their law enforcement efforts in a particular area or a particular group.
And ready for the worst. How UM Emergency Management is preparing for an active shooter on campus.
The faster we can get to that door where the shooter is behind, the faster we can neutralize it, the more lives we save.
Plus, falling in love with yourself. What UM organizations are doing to celebrate Health Awareness Month. Good evening, I'm Evan Aldo. Thank you for joining us tonight.
And I'm Teresa Mack. NewsVision starts now.
Live from the UMTV studios, this is NewsVision.
Nationwide, drug overdoses are the leading cause of death among Americans under 50. In 2016 alone, there were over 60,000 deaths. The rise in opioid addiction has been facilitated by an influx of illegally manufactured drugs. Our reporter, Portia Bodish, joins us now to tell us what researchers are doing to find out the source of the problem. Portia?
Thanks, Evan. As many of us know, a devastating opioid crisis is sweeping our nation. However, few know how we got here. A University of Miami professor has partnered with a colleague and one PhD student from Florida International University to find out where these drugs are coming from. Dr. Almiral from Florida International University has been working in drug forensics for over 30 years. In March of 2015, he responded to a request from the federal government for research on a way to find where heroin is coming from.
When I saw this request for developing a database for heroin samples for the purpose of determining geographic origin, I responded to that call.
Dr. Almiral knew that Dr. Ali Pourman from UN's Rosenstiel School of Marine and Atmospheric Science has the ability to analyze a certain isotope he thought might help find the source of heroin.
Dr. Almiral and I were talking about some of the viable approaches that we could take to test to see some of the geochemical techniques that we typically use for tracking the sources of dust, for tracking different geological processes could actually be implemented in this new way to tell us what the potential source of heroin may be.
They discovered that an isotope called the radiogenic strontium isotope, which is usually used to analyze matter like fossils, could tell them where a batch of heroin was from.
You can look at arrowheads or archaeological artifacts and look at their geochemical composition of the strontium isotopes, and it'll tell you potentially where that arrowhead originally was quarried from.
For example, scientists can tell where opium poppies have grown based on their unique strontium properties. This discovery will help the DEA pinpoint the country where the poppies for the heroin was grown.
So in this case, the hypothesis was that the plant, the poppies, basically get the strontium isotope composition from the ground on which they grow, they preserve it. Then when the processing of heroin happens from the opium that comes from that, it does not affect that geochemical signature. It adopts it. It brings it over.
So why is it important to know where heroin is being produced?
They want to know where the heroin is coming from so they can focus their law enforcement efforts in a particular area or a particular group. So it's really for intelligence purposes.
In 2015 alone, the DEA seized 7.5 tons of heroin. Joshua DeBoard, a PhD student at FIU and the lead author of this research, says this has been a very fulfilling project to work on.
If law enforcement can do something to stop the heroin from getting into this country, especially they could work with international law enforcement at the source of where the heroin is coming from, I feel completely fulfilled in the work that I've done.
The DEA has estimated that heroin is mostly entering the U.S. from Mexico, South America, Southwest Asia, and Southeast Asia. If you would like to learn more about this research, visit the Rasmus School website at rsmas.miami.edu. I'm Portia Bodish. Now back to you guys.
Thank you, Portia. From an opioid epidemic to a disparity, with no access to pain relief medications, 61 million people worldwide suffer from physical and psychological ailments each year. The Lancet Commission report released last week and headed by professor Felicia Null, found that out of nearly 300 metric tons of opioids and morphine distributed globally, only 3.6% is available to low and middle income countries. Null says one of the solutions to the problem lies in economic support.
$1 million. And that, in any budget of any institution, is tiny. It's $145 million to close the gap. To put that in context, that is a fraction of the annual operating budget of any medium-sized hospital in the United States.
To read the Commission's full report, visit thelancet.com.
In honor of Health Awareness Month, campus organization COPE has come together to teach students how to fall in love with themselves. As our reporter Rebecca Chung found out, the key to having a healthy body starts with a healthy mind.
Open hands and ears reaching out to students who have trouble finding strength to help themselves.
Our goal as COPE is to raise awareness about mental health issues, such as suicide, depression, stress.
COPE's outreach program aims to help students keep a positive mind, but this month focuses on an issue that some say go hand in hand.
I think it's extremely important to have a healthy body in order to have a healthy mind. In my opinion, I feel like a healthy body, it's just you feel comfortable, like you feel healthy.
A lot of people internalize some of these negative thoughts they have about their own bodies, and that can really affect how you feel about yourself, how you feel every day, like walking through campus, if they don't really love themselves and love their bodies.
For Rachel, the issue hits close to home. About 91% of women are unhappy with their body shape and resort to extremes to achieve their ideal physique. Rachel's journey to her ideal shape almost cost her her life.
It starts like creating all these thoughts in your head about like, okay, maybe you should look different, maybe you should like act a different way, or like change something about yourself. Through like high school, where I just like felt very self-conscious about eating, and I would eat like the lowest amount of calories possible.
When Rachel came to the University of Miami, she found COPE and was able to find happiness in herself.
I have kind of grown out of that mindset through therapy and kind of realizing my own like self-worth and realizing that like my body, no matter what it looks like, is like a great thing.
Rebecca Chung, UMTV.
To learn more about how you can be positive about your body, just visit COPE on Facebook at University of Miami COPE.
The competition between UM and FSU does not end with football. Our reporter, Emmy Petit-Ferrer, takes a look at the other battle between the two schools.
The annual Battle for the Bucket came back to campus Monday. The event is a 3-day blood drive hosted by UM's Fun Day, which is a service day that brings adults with disabilities on campus to be paired with students to enjoy a day of fun and games. They've collaborated with One Blood, a nonprofit organization which provides safe and affordable blood to over 200 local hospitals and their patients. Fun Day's president, Hannah Kenny, says this event goes beyond helping the local community. And for every pint of blood donated, One Blood will give $5 to $6 back to Fun Day to help fund their event in February. Now, if you're wondering why it's called the Battle for the Bucket, it's because UM is in competition with FSU to see which university donates more blood. Students who decided to donate blood were able to choose from 3 convenient locations to do so: Miller Drive, The Rock, and the Sack Ballrooms.
The entire process of donating blood takes about 30 to 45 minutes, which includes registration, any physical, questionnaire, and fundraising.
Most students were passionate about donating blood and found the experience to be painless and rewarding. Some even took more time to donate platelets, which is important for treating patients battling certain cancers such as leukemia. The donated blood will go mainly to local hospitals, but is on standby for places such as Puerto Rico and Las Vegas if they are in need. For For UMTV, I'm Emmy Petitfrere.
The results of the Battle of the Bucket will be announced at Fun Day in 2018, so we'll have to wait and see if the Canes won that one while also saving some lives.
Despite protests at the University of Florida against the event, white supremacist Richard Spencer spoke to students a short while ago and shared his views on the alt-right movement.
Not everyone in the alt-right even agrees with my concept of the ethno-state, but I would say that effectively everyone in the alt-right agrees with the notion that a racially or ethnically defined state, a nation state, is justified, that it doesn't need to apologize for itself, that it has the right to be.
The speech was Spencer's first appearance at a college campus since the riots in Charlottesville. His viewpoints were met with strong opposition from the Gainesville community. Florida Governor Rick Scott even issued a state of emergency in preparation for the speech.
The Office of Emergency Management activated an emergency response to the threat of Hurricane Irma just a few weeks ago, but it not only involved inclement weather that the department notified students about. UMTV reporter Maddie Brown tells us more.
So that became a difficult incident to manage in and of itself.
Following the 2007 shooting on the Virginia Tech campus in Blacksburg, Virginia, universities nationwide have changed policies to help keep their students safe. The University of Miami Office of Emergency Management is taking steps to make sure the UM community is prepared in the case of an active shooter situation.
We provide this training for active shooter response to all individuals on campus and our campus community, and we go over individual response.
University of Miami Police Chief says that campus police are trained and have the proper equipment to respond quickly and efficiently in the event of an active shooter on campus.
Our biggest point of emphasis in our training is quick response, because we know the faster we can get to that door where the shooter is behind, the faster we can neutralize them, the more lives we save.
The most important thing to remember in an active shooter situation is to run, hide, and fight.
Run as quickly away from those shots as you can. That's number one. Number two is, if you can't run, then hide. And number three, if the shooter is in your vicinity and you're seeing him or her killing people, you might have to take some action.
Attendees of the active shooter response training session feel safer already.
I think that it is very informative, that every member of the administration and staff should be aware of this program.
But there are things that you can do for your own personal safety and emergency response if you're prepared ahead of time for it and you know what options you have.
While tragedies like the Virginia Tech shooting are not preventable, preparedness is the #1 defense in any emergency situation. For UMTV, I'm Madison Brown.
Run, hide, fight. Very important information for all of us to remember in an active shooter situation.
Yes, Evan, it's an issue that is not going away anytime soon, so we need to be as prepared as possible. And coming up after a quick break, we'll take you to one place on campus that's still waiting to be restored after the hurricane.
And dozens of famous artists came together to help the victims of recent natural disasters. We'll be right back.
The next 30 seconds can save you a lot of money. Just do your laundry in cold and stick to full loads. Auto-sleep your computers. Plug your gadgets in a power strip and switch it off when you're done. Headed out? Turn back your thermostat by 10 degrees. And drive sensibly. The more energy you save, the more money you save. Find other great tips at energysaver.gov.
While most of the university is back up and running after Hurricane Irma, one area of the Coral Gables campus is still struggling to recover. Our reporter Erica Orstad tells us more.
It's been 4 weeks since Hurricane Irma ravaged through Florida, and the University of Miami is back on its feet. But of all the areas on the Coral Gables campus most damaged by the storm, this could be considered ground zero. The Arboretum, a living museum full of trees from all over the world, and students are still picking up the pieces.
It was a reaction of heartbreak to see so many of the trees that were down, but it was not a feeling of hopelessness.
Meet Steve Pearson.
This is a beautiful tree that is coming out.
He's not a student here, but he spends more time in the Arboretum than most students do.
With a big bloom, that's Cassia fistula, otherwise known as the golden shower.
For 6 years, he's kept a watchful eye over this garden as its official keeper, building it and preparing the exotic plants for storms like Irma.
It was fine. It was tied up to a stake. It had 3 white posts.
He's talking about a rare tree from Africa, now gone. But it wasn't the hurricane that did it. Most of the damage to the Arboretum happened in the days that followed.
I arrived at 7:50 on a Thursday morning right after the hurricane, and there was a crew of 15 construction workers just going crazy in this area.
Bulldozers, crews of workers trying to remove fallen debris from the roads next to the Arboretum.
It was just, wiped off the face of the earth.
In an effort to clean up the area, incomprehensible damage.
Right here had been a 10-foot henna bush.
Many of the trees Steve worked so hard to preserve run over by bulldozers.
It was fine from the hurricane, but when they were bringing a bulldozer here, it was gone. To lose them it broke my heart.
And with a broken but hopeful heart, Steve takes to the garden again, replanting, bringing the Arboretum back to life. With help from students coming on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to help him restore the living museum.
It makes me feel good. One of my missions since becoming the director has been to try to get undergraduates more involved with the Arboretum.
And one tree at a time, that's exactly what he's doing.
And to me, the immediate effort should all be about, how many trees can we save?
Giving students the chance to breathe life into life itself. From the Gifford Arboretum, I'm Erica Orstad, UMTV.
If you're interested in helping with the restoration process, you can volunteer at the Arboretum between 4 and 6 p.m. on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It has been nearly a month since Hurricane Maria barreled through the Caribbean and several earthquakes hit Mexico.
Now, some of the world's biggest artists have united to raise money for a good cause. UMTV reporter Robin Shapiro joins us live with the story. Robin?
That's right, guys. This past weekend, I had the chance to attend One Voice Somos Live, a disaster relief concert created by Mark Anthony and Jennifer Lopez to help nations that are struggling to recover.
Nearly 35,000 people lined up at Marlins Stadium in Miami on Saturday, October 14th to attend One Voice Somos Live. The concert took place simultaneously in Miami and in Los Angeles at Universal Studios Live. It was live streamed in both Spanish and English on UMTV, NBC, Telemundo, and other networks. The concert lasted over 3 hours. Over 70 celebrities performed or made guest appearances at the event. Some of the artists who headlined the event in Miami were Mark Anthony, DJ Khaled, Daddy Yankee, Prince Royce, and others.
Here at the press conference of One Voice Somos, Mark Anthony tells us why he created the concert and how important it is that artists participated.
But the thing is, nobody said no. Every phone call was like, just join me on this, because tomorrow it could be you.
Mark Anthony says he called many of the artists himself to ask them to play at the concert, and most were delighted to do so.
Together for a great cause, I think, is such a blessing, and I think that's what it's about.
According to the Miami Herald, approximately 100,000 Puerto Ricans are seeking refuge in Florida after Hurricane Maria. Daddy Yankee, who is from Puerto Rico, witnessed some of the devastation on the island.
Right now, people are running out of hope. People think that, that's going to be the direction from now on in Puerto Rico. So the best that we can do is this type of events and send them the help.
Many celebrities such as Jamie Foxx and Ellen DeGeneres answered phone calls for the telethon in LA during the concert. While the total amount has not yet been determined, millions of dollars of donations have already been pouring in.
For more information on how you can help or donate to the cause, go to somosonevoice.com. I'm Robin Shapiro, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Robin. What a cool way to raise money for such important causes.
Yeah, I definitely wish I could have gone to that concert.
Yes, Evan, me too. That looked like so much fun. Coming up after a quick break, football is the main event in the fall, but another sport is preparing to kick off its season. And it's Health Awareness Week. We'll take a look at some of the events on campus.
And we'll take a look into this weekend's forecast, so you'll know exactly what to rock when you're tailgating for the game on Saturday. Don't go away.
And weather, I've got your full Hurricanes versus Syracuse game day forecast. And could we actually see highs in the upper 70s? All that and more straight ahead.
Miami, you are clear to take off.
Good to see you again on NewsVision. I am sports reporter Austin Pert. The road to Omaha begins in October for the Miami Hurricanes. The Canes baseball team began fall practice Wednesday afternoon at Alex Rodriguez Park at Mark-Light Field. UM played a 4-inning inter-squad scrimmage as they gear up for the 2018 season. The Hurricanes are coming off a disappointing 2017 campaign, where they failed to reach the playoffs for the first time in 45 years. Miami returns team MVP Romy Gonzalez, who played summer ball in the well-known Cape Cod League. The Canes also welcome back star catcher Michael Amditis, who suffered a season-ending leg injury in March. UM will look for production from newcomers Danny Reyes, pitcher Daniel Fetterman, and highly ranked prospect Alex Terrell. Manager Jim Morris will coach his 25th and final year at Miami this upcoming season. Miami has a scrimmage on Friday at 2 p.m. as they prepare for their regular season opener in February. It's Healthy Campus Week here at the U. As part of the biggest yoga class took place yesterday at the Wellness Center. It was called BYOM, Bring Your Own Mat. The class was free to students, faculty, and anyone else who shares a love for yoga. This is part of the annual university initiative to partner with a healthier America. Healthy Campus Week ends tomorrow with a wellness fair, followed by chair massages and free health screenings. The Cardiac Canes football team struck again. After a dramatic win against rival Florida State, the Canes found themselves in another close one at home versus Georgia Tech. Just when it looked like the Canes' undefeated season could come to an end, they did it again.
That's where they look, taking a shot. Caught by Lamb! Another magic miracle by Miami!
And that is exactly what the Cardiac Canes were looking for. It was a thrilling 25-24 victory for Miami as they get a much-needed conference win. Darrell Langham was the hero once again as he pulled in a 28-yard catch on 4th and 10. It led to a game-winning 33-yard field goal by Michael Badgley. The Canes remain undefeated and number 8 in the latest AP rankings. The Canes will play Syracuse this Saturday at Hard Rock Stadium at 3:30. And that's all I have for sports. Now, here's Dave with the weather.
Thank you very much, Austin. Pretty quiet across most of the country tonight. Mainly your only rain is up here in the Pacific Northwest and across the Southwest, but that's it. As we shift gears more towards our area, some showers and storms moving their way across the southern tip of Florida, but that's really it. Nothing in the metro right now. We'll see how that trend continues over the next few days and how the tailgating weather can also be affected. National temperatures right now pretty mild actually. 75 down here in Wichita, 80 in Dallas, 69 in Columbus, and 75 down here in Fort Lauderdale. By this time next week, most of these temperatures in the heartland will take a dip by about 20 degrees, actually. The GROW forecast for tonight, 77 at 10 if you plan on going out, 76 at 1. Those muggy temperatures will make it feel a lot warmer, call it low to mid-80s. About a 20% chance of a passing shower. Futurecast for the next 48 hours shows these showers and storms currently located across southern Florida as they move their way into the Gulf of Mexico. Tonight should stay pretty dry. Tomorrow, more pop-ups are also possible. Friday night, same story, pretty dry. But Saturday, there's another chance for pop-up storms, and I think it would be a good idea to bring some rain gear just in case for the game on Saturday. As last Saturday, during the fourth quarter, we got rained on pretty hard. As we look at the Canes vs. Syracuse actual forecast, at kickoff, 60% chance of rain, mid-80s with gusty winds, and at halftime will be the same way. Over the next 6 days, 80s, and Thursday, we'll be looking at 78 for the high and 67. That's all I got for weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Dave.
We'll take a short break now, but when we come back,
then the response after that mural was huge and people loved it.
Memorial that went viral before Hurricane Irma made landfall.
Phones unattended in the wellness center and set up hidden cameras to see what would happen. It only took 13 seconds. If only it were this easy to spot a thief. Remember to lock before you lift.
Good to see you again on NewsVision. Art and a sprinkle of Miami. Our reporter, Jihad Chatara, joins us with a story of one artist who's using the University of Miami's mascot to inspire the community. Jihad?
That's right, Evan. Bo Bradbury is a local artist who is finding his footing in the South Florida culture. His new love is our feathered mascot.
Bo Bradbury has been all over the world, but has some Miami flavor. Meet the artist behind the viral You Don't Scare Us Irma mural at the Geneva Hotel in Miami Beach. It's safe to say that the mural didn't go unnoticed.
Doing that project right before Hurricane Irma on that public wall was kind of, for me, just a revisiting of what I've always been doing. But then the response after that mural was huge and people loved it.
The University of Miami is becoming one of Bradbury's newest inspirations. This right here is one of the many paintings he has of Sebastian the Ibis. He is becoming known as the Ibis guy.
It went absolutely viral, and the outpouring of love and respect that I got from people, kind of like I said, it kind of made me think, hey, like I got something here and I should keep going with it.
But an impact in the community is Bradbury's main focus.
The artwork of Sebastian the Ibis by Bo Bradbury has given the community pride. It's very exciting to be a part of and see the impact that it's made on the community.
I want to inspire other artists to create. I want to leave something behind for future generations to see.
Bradbury is currently talking to the University of Miami to hold a fundraiser selling his art. All proceeds will go to hurricane victims. I'm Jihad Chatara, now back to the desk.
Thank you, Jihad. It's very exciting to see a new artist coming back to the community.
Yes, Evan, he surely is an inspiration.
Thank you for tuning in, and have a good night.